Namaste, angels. This is the weekly love reading for the period of Sunday, the 25th of April through Saturday to come, May the 1st, also known as May Day, as well as the feast of Saint Joseph the Worker. So we're beginning with the dice and 29, spiritual partnership, which is always appropriate for the love reading. Massage, which could also be interesting. Relation to love, and no. Spirit still says 29, as well as romantic dinner and email. Perhaps that's how the invite comes, through an email. For this reading, I am using the Angel and Animal Tarots, the Rider-Waite deck, and the Keepers of the Light Oracle, beginning with the Miriam. So the Miriam are like these twin sisters for me. Miriam, Mary, Mariama. It's all like the same name. So it's that motherly energy of that goddess. And then being a twin, it's very Gemini also. Of course, the North Node is in Gemini. So that's a major thing. We have Mercury located in... Did it move now to Taurus? May have moved to Taurus by now, but had been in Aries, so that was pretty heavy. I don't really remember. It's in one. It's either in Aries or Taurus, though. It's nowhere else. I remember that much, but I'm not sure if it's moved yet or not. Anyway, there's a lot of active, both Mercury, which is Gemini's ruler, as well as that of Virgo, and Gemini energy specifically. And as well as Taurus. There's a lot of Taurus going on, where the sun is in Taurus. What else? We will have the next moon after this one that occurs this week, the full moon in Scorpio. The next one will be the new moon in Taurus. Again, Venus moved into Taurus. Venus is Taurus's ruler. She's there. Mercury may also be in Taurus, and if he's not yet, he's on his way there. Taurus is Scorpio's like polarity, like opposite axis, mirror or twin sign. So there's that. What else? That's all I can remember off the top of my head, because I hadn't planned on even going there. But you know, I just that this card moved me to it. So anyway, it's about choosing to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all, and remember that love has no boundaries. So we're not limited by love. We might be limited by other stuff, and it's a nice segue for me, because the other stuff may be something we want to let go of while we have all this very strong Scorpio energy. So with the full moon, it is a full super moon, no less. And the day after this full moon, Scorpio's ruler, or one of Scorpio's rulers, Pluto, goes retrograde. So it's going to be like the perfect time, with all this really, really heavy Scorpio and Pluto energy, the perfect time for us to let go of things that are in our way and blocking us, including a need to forgive. And so I'll shuffle these in a moment. That's a nice segue to this, because when I picked up this deck and realized that the Ten of Wands was with what we were beginning, the next card is in reverse. It is the Knight of Wands, however, and this Ten of Wands situation may involve travel or movement, or your inability to move, you're feeling stuck, or perhaps an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes that's not a fire sign at all. But look, speaking of fire signs, the King is also behind here. I hadn't known that. The King of Wands most directly represents the sign of Sagittarius, but again can be an Aries or Leo, or someone who's not a fire sign at all, that is just very maybe passionate, aggressive, possibly, hot-tempered, or easily excitable. Could be somebody who likes to move around, doesn't like to stay in one place. Even if they're not a fire sign, you may say that they have fire sign traits. So getting back to the Ten of Wands in connection to what I was talking about with the Miriam and with the Pluto retrograde and the Scorpio full moon, letting things go. So those things can be actual tangible things that we've been holding on to that we gotta let go. Like it's the universe has really been trying to tell me to get a new car. Like I need to let go of mine. I need to stop holding on. It's whatever. Stop holding on to things that the universe is clearly trying to take out of your life. So I don't know. Car was the first thing that came to mind. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a living space or a living condition, a relationship, a job, or it can be an emotion, like or a negative emotion, specifically like the inability to forgive and whatever is causing that, like regret, like resentment, like ego, pride, all of those things. So speaking of that, I just reminded myself of something. I was having this like huge like vision the other day about the 7 deadly sins, and oh goodness, what was it? I was just reminded for a second and then I lost it again. Basically, I think it's important for us to like really avoid them. But I mean, like that should be like common sense. That wasn't the full message, but specifically, I'll say that much at least, and hopefully it'll come back during the reading. If not, I'll bring it up. We'll try to remember to bring it up another time. But specifically, I was shown. It may have been the anniversary of Prince's death. Because I had heard that song in my head that at first that like sort of sparked it, and then I saw like some really weird stuff, like kind of acid tripish kind of stuff. Although like mushroom high kind of stuff. Although those are not things that I use, but I'm just trying to, to explain like how kind of trippy it was. But I heard that song by Prince first. All seven, we will watch them fall. They stand in the way of love, and we will smoke them all. And I was being shown how it kind of had started already. How people who, like in the news and everything, were fit into the different categories, sloth and greed, and so I was just like being shown how they were being all taken down, or these elements, maybe one sin at a time, were sort of being removed from society. And that's not like this to say it's going to be done by tomorrow, but to leave the rest of us to sort of live happily ever after together. And it was like giving me new earth, and twin flame, right? Like our purpose here. So anyway, that can be like the type of thing you want to let go of, like some sort of negative emotion, some sort of negative habit or trait or attribute about yourself, like maybe greed, or if you're slovenly, or if you like covet other people's things, vanity, like if you're superficial and you only consider what's at the surface, and people for or things for appearance and not for any depth. That would definitely be the opposite of Scorpio energy too. Whatever, you get the idea. So Ten of Wands, laying down your burdens, and your burden may be something tangible that you really need to put down and let go of, or your burden may be something that's weighing heavily on you, on your heart, on your soul, and you need to, like, oh, I really need to like take this load off. When you release some of these things, just like a weight came off your shoulders. That can be what this Ten of Wands is here for, to talk to us about. And then that would give way to this. I had no idea this would fall out, but it's like right on time. After the 10 comes the Ace, and so it would give you this new, fresh energy. I also just happened to have opened to the King of Cups, where I threw that Ace of Wands, so maybe specifically new energy in love. is the Hierophant, speaking of Taurus. Just want to give these a little shuffle in front of everybody. So we start out with completely fresh energy. Did they get rid of the button on YouTube where stuff doesn't automatically play? I think it was called autoplay, because I noticed that I didn't end the video and something else started. And then I was like, why? And, you know, I was like, I would swear I had put on autoplay and I couldn't find the button to save my life. So anyway, this person came on and she was doing tarot readings too, but she kept like cutting away. I guess the whole thing, it wasn't like a one whole piece live recording like how I'm doing. It was like, I mean, which a lot of people don't do that. So I'm not even going to give you this person's name, but I'm not like, you know, just talking about her, isolating her. But this was even more weird for me because she kept cutting away and then coming back with like cards laid off and like, okay, I'll be right back. And then, you know, let me get your cards. And then she'd put them and then she'd take those away and like talk to another group of people. But it was all one reading. So as you can see, I sat there and I watched it for maybe like 10, 15 minutes while she, you know, went through these exercises of taking the batches away and putting new ones. And I was like, what in the world? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do it like that. Anyway, I like showing people exactly what's what so that there's no questions. Like, you know, where'd that card come from? Where'd that message come from? Was it prepared? Was it not? You guys are seeing everything when I'm seeing it. So anyway, our overall energy this week will be the Emperor. Which is interesting. Could be about some May-December relationships, as they call them. Or it could be some father influence or energy coming up. We do have the feast day on the 1st, like as I mentioned, of the father, like one of the representations of like a divine father, Saint Joseph, the worker. That is, the Emperor is followed by a card in reverse. That is the King of Swords. So I'll go ahead and mention a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Very possible. Maybe specifically Libra, because we have the Empress here, which is or represents the planet Venus, ruler of the signs, again, of Taurus, as I mentioned, as well as Libra and Gemini. So yeah, it could be either one of those air signs, actually. And then the Ace of Cups. So some very nice energy this week following our overall energy of the Emperor. All right, shuffle these. All right, did we? No. I took the Miriam away, but I didn't shuffle them. So let's shuffle them. We open right to Master Jesus and forgiveness. So that was what sent me on this rant. The need to forgive in order to heal was what the Miriam were talking about. You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing. Okay. Maybe it has something to do with this guy. Father healing is possible at this time. And I just mentioned Jesus's father, or his earthly father at least. Isn't that a little interesting? For me it is. The Emperor also represents the... Oh, wait a minute. We have the Emperor and the Empress almost immediately behind him. That's interesting too. Only the King of Swords separates the two of them. As I said, the Empress also represents the planet Mars, ruler of the signs of Scorpio and Aries. So that may be another reason why the Emperor has shown up. And there's Mary. Love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So this is exactly what I was talking about. There could be things of which we need to let go that are not tangible, that are more like emotions and things. Negative emotions, probably. And when you do, it will feel like a weight has come off your shoulders. So it'll feel like 10 of Wands, you know, like you're being relieved of a burden. What's this divine director have to say? Because I just paused on him sort of unconsciously. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. Okay, I'm going to cut. New overall energy here. Green Tara, supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation. Trust. And this is what we were talking about as well. Like, whatever's limiting you, letting go of it or getting it out of your way, moving out obstacles out of your way so that you're not limited. Especially, you know, whatever's in your control to move or remove. If that means letting go of something, then doing that. Even if what you're letting go of is sort of like a comfort, a safety blanket, you know, like if letting go of it means you're going to have to take some sort of leap of faith or, you know, chance on yourself, sometimes that can be scary, but you're still guided to let go of those things. And speaking of Venus, here she is again. She's the next card in reverse. Downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. But our overall energy is Green Tara. Then we have the angel and animal tarots combined, beginning with the 9 of cups. Oh, and also the 9 of fire. Speaking of Mary, one of her numbers, 9. Your wish comes true. Concerns fade away. You have a love of life. The nine of cups is kind of like the star, right? A wish card. It's a card of prayers being answered, wishes being granted, dreams coming true, yes answers, like positive affirmations, yes, you know, for something positive, especially as it relates to love and relationship. You know, it's like what you want to hear, things going your way. And the two of these together, this one is about don't give up, protect that which you've created, have courage and believe in yourself. So the two of these together are kind of like about like emotional, because cups are also about love and emotional stability, relationship stability, security in terms of like your heart maybe being protected, or at least you, if not by somebody else helping you, you know, having your heart sort of protected. And that doesn't mean guarded. That doesn't mean having a guard up and keeping people out. That just means like, you know, again, protecting yourself, not letting anybody you know, hurt you or take advantage of you. You setting boundaries and then being respected is these two cards sort of together. So I'll mix these up too. We threw that right on top of death. So the major arcana card 13, death, of course, represents the sign of Scorpio. It's the end of a phase or situation. Spiritual transformation is happening. It is time to move on from something. And it will be a successful move. Victory. Good news is on its way. Public recognition and awards even. Because you are moving away from something or towards something that is better, or both. You feel that there's more to life than what you're living, so it's time to move on. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you are in control. And then I just say, whatever you have control over, get it out of your way. Knight of Cups also here. He's emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, and contemplative. Falling in love or wedding proposals, the need to balance emotions, and an invitation to a social event. Knight of Wands here as well. Passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. And for me, together, these two do speak of Scorpio, right? Because again, Scorpio is ruled by both Mars and Pluto. So a Scorpio is both the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups. And the Two of Swords for me is often about love and relationship. It is about needing to make a decision and having made it, in my opinion. Like, you've already made a decision, you just haven't voiced it to the world because you're afraid of what they'll think. And now this is time probably to go ahead and stop caring about that and moving that obstacle out of your way and taking a leap of faith towards what it is you want. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. Right, so we'll just throw these in now because we've looked at them. I'll definitely try to remember the full story about the sevens and the deadly sins for the moon reading. I also had a major vision and experience that I will save and share during the moon reading. Now, our overall energies here are the World and the Tower together. So very interesting, because I often say that the World for me is pretty much the Tower in slow-mo. You know, it's like both of these are life-changing, or can be about life-changing events and or revelations. The end of a cycle, the end of a situation, a circumstance, a living condition, a relationship, so that you can move into one better. This one's abrupt, though. This one requires patience. So when they come together, things get interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So I'll take these two away temporarily, and we're going to get more into these. We're pulling one for each element, beginning with fire. So, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, your card is the Nine of Swords. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, aka the Earth signs. Your card is Queen of Swords in reverse. Kind of like the Emperor, the Empress, and Venus were both just in reverse. Air signs. My fellow Queens of Swords and Kings. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Our card is Death in reverse. And last but not least, water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Your card is that Two of Swords. You know what you want. Just been afraid to go after it. Oh, I know what I forgot to tell you before we get into these cards. I already named this reading. So I wanted to mention this before we did the cards. Actually, before I even pulled them. So it's too late for that. But definitely before we get into them, so we can see if I was correct about the name. So I called the reading. So far, it seems like I am correct, based on what we've seen so far. I called the reading Plot Twist. And I said that, we may be letting go of some stuff. I said, I called it Feeling Cute, might let go of it, meaning a relationship, a thing, again, an emotion, a person, or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, that's the name of the reading. I already made the thumbnail. So now we'll see again how right I guess I was, but so far so good. So let's start with the Emperor, since we share that one. So again, this can be about a May-December relationship. You know, like one is older, one is younger. you the person watching, um, maybe more likely is the younger person, although it doesn't have to be that way. But you could find yourself like falling for somebody older than you, or um, more mature than you. If it's not mature, I don't mean like you're silly and they've got it together, but like it could be emotionally mature, like they've already experienced some things in different relationship dynamics that you haven't, or they have been married before, so they're divorced, they're a widower or a widow, and or they have children and you don't. It can be stuff like that, or it can be spiritual maturity. So have already experienced different spiritual and or metaphysical things, and you're just getting started, or vice versa. So that can be happening. And the person is also probably attracted to or known for like organization, logic, wisdom, order, authority, things being done a certain way. And if the attraction between you may not be mutual in the beginning. So for some of you, this has already happened. You've already met somebody, and I'm describing, a person you met, and how you are toward them, or how they are toward you, one or the other. So one of you may like the other, and the other, or more than the other likes the other, or not be as attracted. But patience. This is the kind of relationship that like grows with patience, and for whatever reason you'll be brought together, or you're being brought together, and so you'll grow on each other basically. Um, and sometimes those are like the best relationships, because sometimes we have like amazing fireworks with people, and so we rush to you know a relationship, we rush to a bed, you know we rush to wherever, and so we don't like do the relationship in order, and we don't give ourselves a chance to get to know people, and for them to get to know us like on a real level. And so this is about doing that instead. Again, for me, the emperor may be somebody who is married, and maybe a male specifically, married or divorced or widower, has children, so maybe he's a father, um, or some sort of authority. Maybe he's like a police officer, a judge, somebody who decides stuff. And if you're a fire sign, one or more of those things may be bothering you about this person. Something is troubling you, likely, in the relationship, and you shouldn't ignore your gut feelings. If you feel that something in your relationship is unhealthy, or toxic to you, then you're likely correct. If you suspect that something is going on behind your back, there's some sort of infidelity or disloyalty, because we're still not completely beyond those energies, I don't think. So you think something's happening, the best way to approach it is to ask your partner about it. See if they're going to be honest with you, because the conversation and communication is the best way to get to the bottom of it. If you are, if it's not your partner, or you're just getting started, you recently met somebody, then we want to be careful about getting too carried away and believing that what's on the surface, right, all is what it is, and is all there is. Believing that all is what it seems to be right now could get you in trouble. Trust takes time to grow and develop, and we shouldn't be in a hurry. So that fits nicely with this emperor. Moving on to the Queen of Swords in reverse, and for our Earth sign. And the Queen of Swords in reverse can be somebody who is like the facilitator of your stumbling blocks. Maybe the person that's put them in front of you and caused you problem. And in a general sense, this Queen of Swords in reverse, like separate and apart from its love meeting, maybe, just on its own, can be about stumbling blocks, and the fact that they're, with this card, typically created by other people. And since the court card may represent an actual person in your life, the other people, in this case, the person that's that's doing this to you, could in fact be a Queen of Swords and maybe a direct air sign, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, that is around you and clearly doesn't like you very much. So around you could mean, in your work, in your family. This could be your, a mother, a mother or a mother-in-law, so your mate or your love interest mother, or somebody somebody else who maybe has some sort of entree and access to you and or your mate or love interest, and is not pleased about the relationship or is jealous or something and wants to get in the way and block it. There's something usually funky about the Queen of Swords in reverse hanging around a relationship. And sometimes they are us, right? We're the Queen of Swords in reverse, and we're causing the problems in our own life. And so we have to ask ourselves, like, if we're behaving in ways that other people might be finding abrasive or overly aggressive, and they're being put off by it. I was watching a show earlier, and this girl had started a new job, and she was just like really laying it on thick. And the guy had to say to her, like, you're new, you could be coming on in ways that are turning people off, so it can be something like that, like not necessarily in a malicious way, but what you're doing too much, and it's a put off, it's a turn off for people. So you're like shooting yourself in the foot and not even realizing it. So that could be the case too, if it's not somebody else that's around you. And then specific to love, it can say that it can be about like something happening, or maybe something having happened in the past with a mate or love interest, and your memory of that situation or conversation, or whatever it is that happened, is or what was said or done, within the confines of this romantic relationship or situation, may not be the actual reality of things, and or may not be the way the other person remembers them. So you need to be open to hearing your partner's point of view. Let's say you had you dated somebody, whatever, you parted ways for whatever reason. Maybe they ghosted you. Maybe maybe you ghosted them because you thought that they, did you wrong, they mistreated you, they whatever. There was a reason for you felt like you had to get away. So you guys parted ways. Now you somehow universe has brought you back together in the same space, and there's an opportunity to talk about it. Like, well, I stopped speaking to you because this. And the other person's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? That's not what happened. I stopped speaking to you because of this. And you're like, oh, well, that's not happened. I got your voicemail that time, and I thought, oh, you got my voicemail because I lost my phone. I wasn't ignoring you. You know how like we presume, and we're wrong sometimes, and we act on things and we don't communicate, and then they end up like that. So this is like you getting back together and having an opportunity to discuss what it is. Now, some people, you haven't been separated for a long time. Maybe you just had a disagreement, yesterday, and you don't remember it the same. Still, take the time to have a conversation and to really listen to the other person and hear them. Like, don't be already formulating your response in your head, because this is real Queen of Swords ish, right? Air signs, we're always in our head, and so we're like one step ahead of you. No pun intended, and we're already thinking about like what to say, like a whole speech in our head. Don't do that. Like, clear your mind to really be open to hearing the other person's perspective and what they have to say, and then respond, right? Then process it and then formulate a response, and have a genuine conversation. And certainly don't presume anything. Ask, with this card turning up. So I will move on to the air signs. And our card is death of all cards, in reverse at least. So it's not as, the energy is not as heavy when it's in reverse as when it's upright. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that a relationship is over, but it can be. I mean, especially if we're clinging to a relationship in which we're unhappy, and it's something that we know we need to let go of, but we don't want to because it's the familiar, it's comfortable, like I was saying before, or because we hate to be alone. So rather than be single, I'd rather just stay with this asshole. If we're doing any of those kind of things, we're not doing ourselves a favor, and we're not doing, this partner any favor. But again, the problems that we're experiencing are likely less serious or major than perhaps they would have been if the card was upright. But either way, if you're in a difficult relationship now, it's going to be an awesome time, like no time like the present, right? To go ahead and deal with it and have an honest conversation about whatever the problems are with the relationship. And if the other person, because both people have to be willing to make a change, it's 50-50. And if they are not, then there's nothing you can be done about it. But if you both are willing to try to fix the relationship, or to see if it can be salvaged, to do that, you have to be willing to have a conversation. And then if not, then it's probably time to let it go, and you're going to have to reach inside and pull out that strength and bravery, and take the chance of leaving the security of this shitty relationship, knowing that you can find one that's much better. And that may be why we got the Tower and the World together in our next set of cards. Very possibly why. But you'll know, like, when it's time to stop beating your head up against the wall and trying to figure out what to do. You'll know when it's like, okay, it's long enough. I've been trying to figure this out long enough, and the relationship's not fixable, and I got to save myself. You'll know when you have to do that. But death is showing up to say now's probably the time, to give us a little nudge, to make us think about it if we're not there yet. If we are single, looking for love, so there is no tangible thing of which we need to let go. It's possible that you need to let go of, like, a ghost of a past relationship, like you're holding on to, again, perhaps some sort of negative emotion or something that is preventing you from moving on and finding a new relationship. Or you're holding on to some sort of behavior or situation, circumstance, again, living condition, whatever, that is preventing you from being able to find another relationship. So it's time for you to let that go, perhaps. Also, there may need to be some sort of transformation, because death is all about transformation, in how, I was going to say in you, but it's not really, it's really typically more in how you see yourself than it is actually in you. It's like there's a need for, like, an increase in self-esteem in order for you to be able to show other people love, right? You got to be showing yourself some first. So you may want to give yourself some thought as to how you've been treating you. What's your relationship like with you? On another note, some of us may have some situations, relationships involving actually a Scorpio, with death showing up. And then in terms of the King of Cups in reverse, because a Scorpio would be a King of Cups and it's here in reverse, death is here in reverse. The King of Cups in reverse is about somebody who's willing to, like, risk it all for love. So if that could be you, or that could be somebody with whom you are dealing as well. Particularly if we're talking about somebody that's returning or coming back. So maybe they're taking a chance in doing so, but then again, you guys are going to have some sort of conversation. And last but not least, water signs and the Two of Swords in reverse. So the traditional tarot would say that this could be a time where you need to be, like, cautious and, like, intentional and deliberate when it comes to your love and relationships. You may be, like, sort of tempted to go ahead and push things or rush things forward. Remember what I was saying about taking time to develop the relationship and for the feelings to grow and stuff like that. The Two of Swords in reverse is, like, doubling down on that, saying that this is not the time to like try to force a relationship to move quickly. And if you're single and looking for love, absolutely get out there and mingle. I'm definitely not trying to hold you guys up. And you're very likely to meet somebody who's, worth giving your time to. But this is also an indication, again, joining the Emperor, that it may take some time before like a real love relationship develops with them. But if you're patient, like you should be like, good things come to those who wait, kind of thing, right? Kind of situation. Like you should be very happy with how things turn out. And now I'm going to further clarify what we have here with the Keepers of the Light Oracle. So, fire signs, again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, your card is, how fiery and how appropriate is this for you guys? It's Bridget. Look, she's holding fire in her hand. Inner strength. So we talked about the strength that we needed in order to sort of combat any anxiety, be open to a conversation, and good communication is what every sign every element needed. Move back into wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. And so I've also been talking about that. Anything that you have the power to rid yourself of that's holding you back in any way, remove it. So the goddess Bridget shows up to help the fire signs with that. Moving on to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, your card is El Moria, an awakening presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So especially if this person is doing something to sort of put obstacles and things in your way and to hoping for your downfall, the universe is with you. Like God is with you. Or your protectors, guardians are around you, and so they're not going to let this person be successful, and that's probably going to piss them off even more. But it may very well expose to you exactly who they are and what they're doing, even if the person is you. Right? It can expose to you what you've been doing to hinder yourself, perhaps, by showing you different examples of things going right and wrong, or how on how things could have gone. Moving on to air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Our card is, wow, Horus, Cosmic Gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. And I'm saying wow because Horus, I'll just give you a clue. Horus was involved in the major experience / vision that I said I would save for the moon reading. So last but not least, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Joining your Two of Swords, we have Holy Amethyst and Divine Alchemy. Move beyond current challenges. Focus on what you desire. So again, the Two of Swords for me is mostly about what you desire, but you're afraid to go after it because of what others may think or say. And this is saying, fuck them. Go after what you want. I'm going to pull more cards now from this other deck that we have already shuffled. All right. So again, we have the World and the Tower here. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons that life offered you with grace and courage. So the World for me is a fire energy, mentioning that. And it is, again, joined by the Tower, Major Arcana card 16. Important changes are coming to your life that will require you to take action. Don't hesitate to move in new directions that you know are right for you. And so for some of us, they're going to be revelations. They're going to be like, okay, I've thought about this. I understand. I know what I have to do now. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was especially true for the water signs and maybe the air signs too. I mean, although that could be for anybody. Something may be coming to completion suddenly, maybe unexpectedly for you, or like begin to come to completion, and then it may take some time to get completely out of whatever the situation is, or for the transition or transformation to be fully complete. It may take some time, right, and some patience, but the initial boom could come with the tower, and then the patience would be required by the for the world. um you ever heard of like a happy mess, a pleasant mess? They could like the positives that come out of chaos. It could be like that too, like something chaotic, something like it seems like complete upheaval, but it's like a good omen and a blessing in disguise, I guess. Can also be a meaning for these two cards together. All right, so um just turning the decks, backward and pulling the next card. For the fire signs, what is joining what you already have is the Six of Pentacles. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities. And with regard to love, this one for me is about like equal exchange, like 50-50, like reciprocity and mutual respect and adoration, and just really being willing to give of yourselves. So if you're in a situation that's not like that now, you may want to let go of what you're dealing with, or have a conversation with your mate to change it to bring about this. Or again, get rid of it, scrap it, let it go, so that your world and you can be opened up for this. There can be room for this to flow in instead of this. Moving on to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Your card is the Four of Cups. Your responsibilities may distract you from noticing all the gifts that God is presenting to you. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. So this could be something like telling you to look for the blessings, look for the omens, even where they wouldn't be expected necessarily, like even where someone's trying to cover them up and block them. Like investigate things, check things out when they come your way. Don't like just nothing good ever happens for me, I'll just not pay attention. Opportunities coming for you, it's knocking for you. Let's see what it is before we decide to blow it off. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, joining Horus and Death. We have Death. Isn't that something? It's time to release the past and to move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. And last but not least, the water signs. Wow. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize I had two cards in my hand. So I was saying, wow, you guys got the Ace of Cups, and then it felt kind of thick, and I realized there's another card there, but it's a nice card too. It's the Six of Wands. So the Ace of Cups. This is the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. Yeah, because some of you are going to decide to go after what it is you want, and it's going to be brand new. It may be the first blush of romantic love, the rebirth of a current relationship, so you could be getting back together with somebody, or the awakening of spiritual gifts and insights. You could have a major revelation that leads to better things coming from the Tower and or world. Very nice. And it will be, again, positive. This is good for you. It will bring you success and happiness if you go for it. You may receive a promotion, be chosen for a scholarship, or find that you're singled out for special recognition. You've done an amazing job, and you deserve all of the attention. How awesome is that? I think I should leave it there, because I am going to come back, like I said, with another reading for the moon. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Namaste.